Hello, hello, hello. All right, so I figured I'd make a longer form video to kind of walk you through some of this vibe coding stuff, just to keep you from, um, not keep you from making mistakes, but kind of maybe like accelerate you a little bit and push you forward. So yeah, so if you watched any of my TikTok series, I talked about the urgency to move fast, go forward quickly, launch as fast as you can, go, 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 build some documentation, all the other fun stuff, and then also about using Bolt and Supabase, um, and then also using Claude. We're going to not show you this yet. There we go. All right, and then also using Claude for the documentation. So we're going to do this live. I should have come into this planned, but that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. So let's start with something super simple. Like we're going to build a little Quizlet. Um, this will be a series of 10 questions. You get a score at the end. Hooray. Like maybe some emojis or something like that. Like super, super simple. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is talk to Claude. All right, I'd like to build a simple Quizlet app. I'm going to ask the user 10 questions, give them a score. I don't want you to do any coding, but I want to make a project plan so Bolt.new can build this. Let's brainstorm. All right, so simple Quizlet app. Perfect. Core features to consider: basic quiz flow, welcome start screen, question display, answer selection, true or false or input text. We need to think about that. Progress indicator, that's a good idea. Sure. Final results with score. Question types, what format do you prefer? Multiple choice, true or false. I want to make this button clicky so that it's mobile friendly and we don't have to type in. So I'm thinking true and false and true and false. Should questions have images or just text? Fixed questions, scoring feedback. User experience. Can they go back? Is there a timer? Can we restart? Theme. Wow. I'm going to cheat. Watch this. If you wanted to build this for kids around a subject like using AI, what would your answers be? This is how we get lazy. Multiple choice 3 options max. Like kids think without pressure, can't go back, keeps it simple, fun restart. Let's also use emojis. Should we put in Gen Alpha brain rot? Less is more. Educational credibility. Huh. Alright, cool. Alright, I like this. You have the right idea. Alright, let's build this. I was told you're being told that you need epics and stories. I don't know what those are. By the way, I don't care about spelling anymore. The AI just knows whatever if I can't spell those when I'm first typing it, but you get the point. I don't know what those are. Please make an artifact that I can copy from. Do do do, boo doo boo doo boo doo. The project plan. Okay, technical foundation, blah, 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 blah. All right, we're going to full screen this. All right, now we're going to go through this. So this is what you would be getting. Now, if you're a non-technical vibe coder, you're probably just going to run with this. I'm going to run through this as a very experienced, brought large product to live for major Fortune 50 and 500 companies. And I'm going to go through this as if I were an actual engineer, and we're going to kind of pinpoint what I want you to take out of this session is how I'm thinking about some of these things, because there's going to be some more depth to it. All right, so project overview: fun educational quiz app teaching kids 8 to 14 about AA safety, limitations, responsibility through 10 interactive questions with immediate feedback and gamified elements. Perfect, I like that. All right, Epic 1 core quiz engine. As a kid, all right, so stories are basically breaking down the tasks, and the epics are the collection of a subject. So everything that is a story, the tasks we're breaking down, the things that we're going to do, all tie into the core quiz engine, right? So it's the subject. Something that's from the user interface and design shouldn't necessarily type in, or shouldn't actually from this. Everything related to the engine should be in here. But, it's kind of how we roll. Sometimes things are loosey-goosey. All right, as a kid. So what this is doing, this is framing perspective. This is really important. So as the builder, I might think something different than the kid using it. And so that's the mental role play you have to do is, okay, if I'm a kid sitting down, what am I experiencing, right? So I want to start quick and easy so I can test my knowledge around AI. I want to see one question at a time so I don't get overwhelmed. Yep, I would want to select from 3. Okay. Maybe we make that 4, but that's fine. 3 is good. I want to know immediately if I got it right. I want a final score. As a parent, I want questions to be age appropriate. Yeah, that's true. Technical requirements: question data structure, score tracking system, question progression logic, and results calculation. Okay, that's pretty good. All right. User interface and design. I want a colorful, fun interface. I want to see progress with emojis. I want a friendly AI mascot. Okay. I want the quiz to work on my tablet or phone. I want big, easy tap buttons. Okay. I want to learn about AI safety so I can use tools responsibly. Accurate information. Yeah, this is all good. Safety limitations. Okay, so it's breaking us down into categories. Okay, perfect. Feedback. Technical foundation. Clean, maintainable code. Fast load times. App to work without internet so I can play it anywhere. Okay, that's actually, we'll touch back on this, but this is actually a little bit of a change in the design, but that's totally fine. As a parent, I want no data collection so my kid's privacy is protected. Vanilla JavaScript or React, local storage, quiz state, no external databases. Okay, cool. So this is an interesting thought process. So my TikToks talk about both using Bolt and Supabase in case you need a database. This chose mostly because of the kid safety is where it's leaning towards, which I like, to not use a database, right? So we're not going to put any user accounts. We're not capturing any information. This is literally a kid lands here and then is going to go ahead and take a quiz and then kind of move forward, right? All right, safety focus. Samples, yep, okay. Success metrics, development and priority order, MVP core, UI polish, feedback systems, mobile optimization, and content review. All right, this is actually really decent. I like this a lot. Now, what we probably should do, and I would probably want to dig into these a little bit more detailed from an engineering standpoint, but from a vibe coding non-techer person, you probably could roll with this, and we're going to try and see what happens, right? We're going to go with that. All right, so what I had explained before, go for an epic at a time. So I'm just going to copy this. Then we're going to switch back over to Bolt. Yeah, I'm in a new chat, so this is fine. So first, we're going to do this. All right, but before we hit enter, let's see, epic 1. So we're going to interject in here. Will be more epics. This is the first one to get started. Okay. All right, good. Let's go. So now what Bolt is going to do is it is going to think through these things and it's going to start to try to build what we've sent it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip over to code view. All right, and you can actually see that it's starting to output code. It's building some questions, setting the correct answer. So now I've actually built a quiz system similar to this in the past where you kind of insert the questions. This is really smart because it lets you just change one thing, like the question file, without having to rewrite the entire code base and go into every single question. It's very reusable. This basically makes a question like a frame. There we go, so you can see like a frame, and then the content gets injected in, and it can be dynamic. So that's actually a really wise way to do the installation. So now, while that's doing its thing, I'm going to go back here and look. So one of the things that I'm going to recommend, make sure that you actually read these. So the one that I built was around music trivia, around the 80s and 90s, which it should have well documented. We're past those decades, and nothing new is being added to those decades. And it was asking questions that didn't match with the answers. So, and I mean, like, these are obvious things, like a question about Michael Jackson, a question about the Beatles, like stuff that, like, pretty much everyone would know. All right, so preview. Let's see what we got. Pretty good. AI. Oh, that's weird, but that's fine. It's probably the framework. All right, let's see what happens. Start quiz. What should you remember about AI assistants? Like, what should you remember? I don't know. They know everything and are always right. They can make mistakes and should be double checked, which I was literally just explaining to you. They can replace human thinking completely. Chris Sacca, I'm talking to you, buddy. You are wrong. All right. Hey, look at that. I know what I'm talking about. Next question. What personal information should you never share with an AI? Well, everything, technically, but it already knows it. Oh, your home address. Never give that to anybody. What? When AI gives you information for your homework, what should you do? Copy it exactly without checking, kids. That's what we do here. Verify reliable sources and understand it, aka critical thinking. Well, we know a lot of people are missing critical thinking. So, oh, look at that. Sorry, good try. Next. What is a good way to think about AI tools? They are magical and they can do anything. Oh, if AI suggests something that doesn't feel right, that's a question on ethics. I'm going to talk about that in different videos. I actually have an ethics framework that I deploy to my own ChatGPT and other AI instances that I'm not going to fully disclose right now because I'm going to put it into a product like this. I think it's sellable. But there's discussions we can have philosophically around how you employ way better ethics than what the normal AI systems have. Um, Trust your instincts and ask an adult. Ignore your feelings completely like a closed off child. Let's see here. What's important to learn about AI bias? It can give unfair or incorrect answers. So now, one of the things that I did notice, this is only the first epic, there's more to go through, but all of the questions are in the middle. It's always the second one. Let's see. Oh, look at that. I found a bug. We need to randomize the answers. All right, right out of the bat, that's pretty incredible. It is. It's pretty awesome. So let's go back to Claude. All right. It already did this, but we're going to put this in anyway. Yeah, that'll help us refine it. Wow. Well, so here's also a trick. This is Claude by itself, unprompted, other than like the basic things, right? So it came up with this on its own. Most of these building systems are also using Claude, so the fact that it came up with a very similar build out is not surprising to me. And look, even in the sample, B is always the answer. All right, so let's keep going. We're going to copy in Epic 2. And we're going to have Epic 3 on deck. Now, the things that I already want to polish and change are not things that are in the technical document, and you just witnessed it by us testing these. So we're going to go back through this again. Oh, I hate that. Whoa, it's much more kid friendly now. But everything is bouncing and animated at the same time. That is annoying. Where are we at? Question cards. Still waiting. All right, so it's changing a bunch of stuff in the background. Some of the things that we want to talk about from a design aspect, right? So, what's happening here? Super busy. Okay, we got a lot of animation. Every single emoji is bouncing around. Well, not every emoji, but like you got the primary one here. You got all four corners. You can't see through my face. One over here. One up here, and they're all bouncing in the same rhythm. That's annoying. So we're going to make sure that gets corrected. Also, this. That should not be happening. That's also a simple fix, but that's just AI being AI. Okay, so it thinks that it successfully has updated this. Let's find out how good it did or how much it borked the system. What just happened? Start the quiz. Hey, there we go. Ooh, much more kid-friendly. I like that a lot. Some readability issues here, but we can work on that a little bit. All right, what should you remember about AI chatbots? A, B, C. Why is C black? And the other two are red. That's weird. Inconsistent. Next. Okay. Also, here's a note. Pay attention. Look at where the edges of the boxes are. We also have the stupid jumping bot. And we hit B. Boom. The whole page just went. Like, what is going on there? That's so weird. Boom. All right. Now, notice. Still bouncing icons, but it doesn't move when I put my mouse over it this time. So there's some weird inconsistencies that we need to focus on and fix. But, like I said, let's keep going. Epic 3. Now, let's go ahead and put Epic 4 on deck. All right, so let me teach you a little coding here. Questions. I can actually let's explain why these are always the single answer. All right, so we're gonna blow this up so you can read it. Let's tuck that away. Okay, so here we go. So, question. This is the this is actually complex. This is TypeScript. There's a type. We're not going to go into any of this. Hold on, Okay. We'll cover a little bit of this just so you have it, right? So, we are defining what's called an interface that we call question. This is basically the structure of a question. This is similar to something that you do in a database, but essentially you set an ID, which you say is a number. So the teal, light blue, the side to the left of the colon, if you can't see these colors, that is the definition of what we call a key. And then we say its type is a number. A question's type is a string, like a series of letters. When you see the square brackets, that means it's an array, which is like, think of having a single Tupperware container, right? That's a bucket that has stuff in it. And then you have the same bucket, but you put little separators in it, so you have different compartments in the bucket. That's what an array is. All right. And then your difficulty is a choice, which is sort of like an array of easy, medium, and hard. All right, so come back to question. We bring question in from the quizzes, so this is the definition. So now we're saying we're making a quiz that will be a series of questions, which means each question has to follow that flow. ID, question, which is a number, right? Question, which is a string. Answers with a square bracket, so it's an array of strings, like we talked about. Correct answer is an integer. Explanation is a string. Difficulty is already selected as easy. All right, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. ID, question, answers, correct answer, explanation, difficulties. Okay, so arrays, the way that they work, since they're components, in our fun little programming world, we start, the counting is what we call an index. We start it at 0. Okay, like everyone else always starts at 1, right? How many things do you see? Here's one thing. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You never start with, I start with 0, and then there's 1. But in programming, we do. So when we see the correct answer is 1, what's happening is each compartment in the array has a string separated by a comma. So the first string is the AI is really has feelings, and just like humans do. The second item in here is AI doesn't always or doesn't actually have feelings. The third item is I should try to cheer up the AI. Okay? That's how we count. 1, 2, 3. Now in programming world, this is 0, 1, 2. Still 3 items. We start counting at 0. So correct answer 1, 0, 1. 1 is the correct answer. All right, so that's what's happening here. Don't try to change that. you can start indexes counting at 1, but we're not even going to go there. You're vibe coding. You're not actually technically coding. I'm just trying to show you that when you start messing with these things and you're like, I thought I changed the first answer and the answer is 1. Why isn't it updating? Because 0 is the correct answer, right? Because that's where we start. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. All right, let's fix the size here. And then let's go back to this and preview. Hey, there we go. Start quiz. Okay, we got Epic 4 on deck. Let's go ahead and do it. Alright. We got Epic 5. We're going to do Epic 5 with the rest of the document, because it's the last thing it has to code. Enhance feedback and gamification. So it's messing with the question cards right now. Okay, here we go. Dynamic badges improved. Wow, look at that. Oh, look at this. I'm doing so good because I just know to always hit the middle button. Boom. Wow. I am an official AI safety champion. Wow. What is going on with all this animation? Alright, here we go. Last epic. Okay, cool. Whoa. Pretty good. Alright, so now we've seen everything that this does. Here's how we're going to go ahead and clean all of this up. Let's the bottom. Alright, so first things first. This is the intro screen, right? Where does app come in? Quiz start. So knowing how code works also is going to help you a little bit. So when you build a app like this, it's said to use React. So that's what this did. This is using React in a form called TypeScript. Don't worry about the definitions of that. You can Google it. TypeScript is what you're looking for if you want to actually understand what this is. I'm just going to walk you through the jumps here that to just help you navigate, because this is consistent, okay? It always starts in app.tsx or app.jsx. So those letters will change if it's TypeScript or React by itself without TypeScript. Again, you can Google it if you want to know the difference. App is where you start, okay? This first section with the purple, blue, and orangey, reddish color things, this is pulling in pieces from elsewhere. They're called import statements. Ignore this right now. What we want to look at is how this thing actually sort of starts off. Oh, that's cool. We'll fix that in a minute. All right. So app is where this thing starts, and quiz state, if where exclamation points means not, it's the opposite of something. So if we have not started a quiz, start the quiz start. Okay, so that's where we're going. We need to find quiz start. Here's quiz start. Okay, so quiz start. Here are the 4 emojis on the corners. They all have this animate and bounce. All right, then we have this guy here. So this is technically our logo. Then we have all of the other pieces. Okay, so in quiz start, let's stop the main robot head in the center from animating. It should be static. Also, when I move my mouse, it's called a mouse over, by the way. When I mouse over the body, it zooms in. That should be static. Okay, so that's going to be the first little fix. Okay, let's see. All right, our icons in the corner still bounce. Our robot has stopped bouncing. Oh, and look. Boom. Much, much cleaner. Okay, now, what else do we need to fix? Okay. So now we're in the quiz. In the quiz, the percent complete is a dark gray and is really hard to see, read. Background, we should Alright, ADA compliance is in everything including web design. It has to do with the readability and contrast of colors. So when you say ADA compliance, it will figure out how to make it appropriate. Let's see what it did. It did not fix anything. Oh, it's still running. There we go. Okay, so that's more ADA compliant, but now that looks bad. Alright, ready? So I'm in Windows. So if you hit the Windows key plus Shift and S, it'll let you grab a screenshot. You can actually paste the screenshot into Bolt. That fixed the ADA of the percent. But this looks bad. Let's clean up the whole style of the progress bar. Okay. Alright, better. The numbers, the question numbers. Alright, question numbers should be white and bold. There we go. Much better. Much, much better. Okay. All right, so now, ready? We're going to fix the questions. All right, so I want you to think about how this would happen, but I'm going to give you the answer. Okay, so each array can have a set. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a number like that. So, and it might actually change it, but essentially if we set a number in the group together, then that means that we can randomize the order and still have the correct number associated to it, right? So if we say 2, comma, and 3, and then we say correct answer is 2, then we're not looking at the index, we need to shift it, okay? So we're going to do this. We need the answer order to be random. All the index of the array. Can we try something like this? There we go. That's the right answer. Maybe. Alright, so let's see. What are we actually doing here? Shuffle answers. Oh, cool. Alright, so what it did is it's leaving it all in the same order. We're not actually changing the questions. What this is doing is it's changing the presentation. So when it pulls 1, 2, and 3, it doesn't always display 1, 2, and 3. Oh, it found an error. A terminal error. Yeah, just attempt to fix. This is the one thing about vibe coding, right? You don't know what the error means. You're not technical. You're just going to click the button, and it's going to do the thing, and it's going to attempt to fix it. Now, what's going to happen to you? Sometimes it works, just like this, and we're good, and we just move forward. Sometimes it loops and loops and loops and loops, and 3 hours later, it's doing the same thing, and you don't know what's going on. And sometimes you just go looking at something super simple in the code, but because you're not technical, you don't know that. I'm sorry, it's going to happen to you. All right, so now let's see. All right, we're still the second one. Oh, there it goes, finally. I wasn't reading, I was just making sure it wasn't the second. All right, so now here's the other question. Why are A, B, and C inconsistent? We should use the same style for the selections. Boom, look at that. So much better. Start. Yep. Yep. Cool. Awesome. Not reading. I'm just making sure they're not all the same. Perfect. Okay, so here is something else. Ready? I answered C. The correct answer is A. We move on to the next question. All right, so nope, that's not what I wanted. So first we paste the first picture. Then we grab the second picture so it has reference. In the first pic, I answered question 9 wrong. But in Q10, the progress bar has a green check like I answered right. It should have green checks for good answers and red X for bad ones. Oh, look at that. I'm absolutely right. You're always absolutely right, by the way, even when you're not. Be careful. You can say, I like the purple monkeys that enjoy metal pancakes. And it'll be like, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Boop. Boop. Huh? Tell a trusted adult. Amazing work. Why are you saying I'm wrong? Next question. Tool. Okay. AI is always right. That's okay. That's incorrect. Yeah. Wow, that's a bright ass red. Okay. Hard to read. Alright, let's see what it comes up with. Alright, we'll start quiz. We're broken. And we're broken. And we're still broken. It has broken the progress bar. Try again. Oh, still broken. Alright, I'm going to read this. The above error occurred in progress bar component at progress bar at div blah 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 blah. Consider adding an error boundary. Alright, let's look at the code for progress bar. Percentage. Was incorrected is not defined. Okay. Was incorrect was incorrected. There we go. Save that. Let's try again. Start quiz. Hey, look at that. Sometimes all you have to do is some simple little... Oh, that is much better. Meet him in a public place. Oh, look at that. Alright, so hold on. We gotta go back. Let's restart this. I think question 3 has a bug. Alright, your AI homework helper asks you for full name and address. Never share my information. That is a correct answer. We still got some more animation cleanup BS going on here, but next. Chatbot suggests we meet with someone we never talked to. Alright, we're going to say that this is wrong. Ask AI if the person is safe. That is incorrect. We're yellow. X. Good. Okay. Question 3 is where I think I saw the problem. You're using an AI tool and it starts asking you personal questions about your family and friends. Answer the questions and be polite. This is incorrect. Okay. It's weird. I thought I had a green. You did it right, but it was still a wrong answer. Hold on. We're on question 6. You're telling me question 6 I got right. You asked the answer. Boom. Next question. Oh, look at that. On Q6, I got it wrong. Alright, I'm going to tell you exactly what this is. Because you're doing with 3 items, there's what's called a race condition. So you can get a false positive before you get a correct positive or correct negative. So essentially what's happening is this is the correct answer, this is the incorrect answer, this is the incorrect answer, right? There's those 2 cases. It could be in order and saying first one is incorrect, second one is correct, the next one is incorrect. So if you pick the first one and it's broken and then it travels down to check all of them, it might be checking one. So there's a bug. It's simple logic bug. All right, never give personal information. Any of these right? Jeez. Well, I am just randomly guessing, so. Look at me, a big old dummy. Alright, see the issue. Progress bar incorrectly showed for 6. We got it wrong. Quiz state. Yep. This is exactly what I was describing. Alright, so I think that is it. We've built a quiz. And we've gone through the whole thing. So there's Vibe Coding 101. This you can safely put in production. You don't have to worry about anything. But as we build more and more complex apps, you are going to have to worry. And I am going to have to show you some code stuff and how we integrate with things like Supabase and going from there. So yeah, that's it. Have fun.